Check, 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 check. 1, 2. Rapper Inquisition. What? Rapper Inquisition. What? Rapper Inquisition. What? Auric field glow. I know children see it surrounding them all, and that's how to be it. When they come with color of office, acts how to deal. When they act with color of law, acts how I see it. I say I study, then study myself. Some things can't be read, so I study myself. Don't fall for the fiat trap. The only money and wealth is gold and silver. Everything within yourself. Some say it's hard to find, I beg to differ. Color of corporate fines getting stiffer. Tax you to death quicker than liquor to liver. Tell me I'm part of a cult when feds practice wicker. A cult of witchcraft, magic, white and black. Calling spirits with candles, sacrificing cats. It's not 2092, Empire striking back. With nationality, no need for the Billy Club bats. I'm so for the jail law. I'm fighting the acts and ordinance statutes. I'm not a shadow statue. I might quote Ruth, but not Matthews. Won't fly the planets in space capsules. Won't get high, putting fire to glass tubes. Police taking little boys to private back rooms. Wake up like devil's advocate in a bathroom. I'm front row, blacks want the back seat of the classroom. Stop trying to impress goddess. She's run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young gods' minds get attacked, abused, and abolished. Stop trying to impress goddess. She's run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young gods' mind gets attacked, abused, and abolished. Iron sheet heavy, like iron made in metal. I'm preserving flowers, homo thoughts falling off petals. She loves me or not, see for Tranny loves them. More buddy than Jungle Brothers when Tranny hugs them. I heard rappers don't care, playing with fake hair, fake breasts and eyes, lies more than cribs and daycare. Tight pants sagging, rappers in gay gear. Some MCs want each man to stay there. I stay square standing, story from the years of nationals ruling as Moors, not the gears. Or men of straw, Paul Crush, Paul and his Morris Shaw, Benedict wearing Prada shoes to call. For powers from a set, giving masses Mary and Jesus with Nicene Council and Constantine Genius. Paper bulls, share the sheep and tax the wool. Still pouring in his glass and cups overfull. Stop trying to impress guidance. She's run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young gods' minds get attacked, abused, and abolished. Stop trying to impress goddess. She's run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young gods' mind gets attacked, abused, and abolished.
It's so true that most of us have gone through a transition. Some of the things we did was solely to impress women, to be in a state of respect and appreciation, or simply a desire to create a stimulation. Too many racing instead of pacing. Truth is effort necessary in all successful matchmaking. Just too many faking, expecting creating to occur. First be for real, stay for real, recollect and remember. As we forever enter and exit different type of walls. Truly up to oneself to determine what's the norm. The calm passing building on fire fast healing. Too many males today confusing, labeling and revealing themselves concealed in a closet. Enough of that topic. Just leave my mom out there destined to self. Stop it. Logic shows how life decays and grows. Life begets life, just trust how life flows.
Stop trying to impress guidance. She's run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young gods' minds get attacked, abused, and abolished. Stop trying to impress guidance. She's run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young gods' mind gets attacked, abused, and abolished.
Yo, where should I begin? We can start with the sweetness of the beat. To finish this with peace, mama, this is deep. Not one of these men made you, so it's only right to elevate you. I'm being honest, I can't hide it. You're just the flyers, your flows just like yoga. You open every chakra to even have you know my name. It's such an honor. Way deeper than the Mona Lisa, you're the Madonna. Hanging above the post chair, this is so here. Could you be the one to really open up to me? Loving me, got my heart locked like a 1 to 3, a 25 to life. Forever enshrined in every rhyme that I write. Through the dark, shine a light on every struggle and this hustle. The babies and the ones who use you for your power, your skill and your vision. Cause you're real and you're living the best you know how. So I'ma hold you down, here's your crown.
Stop trying to impress goddess. She's run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young God's minds get attacked, abused, and abolished. Stop trying to impress God. Peace run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got off in their college. Young God's mind gets attacked, abused, and abolished.
Rules gonna tell you exactly what we goddess want. Men who can see themselves as God and treat others as he treats himself. In love, truth, peace, freedom with justice, wealth accumulated by the knowledge of himself. And death under movement of law and order, uplifting his nation through arts and culture. Ruler of the empire, education father. Spirituality is his basis. Giving thanks to ancestors, libations. Intuition penetrates the matrix. He's blind like a cataract. I see like the sages. Pages got to turn over changes. Better that. Balance of the garden, the goddess for the babies. Ahead of that. Overstand our purpose, expelling that energy. We got the recipe. Love is the key, so know yourself and stop
trying to impress God. Peace run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young God's minds get attacked, abused, and abolished. Stop trying to impress God. Peace run by intuition, activated by knowledge. That's why they got her up in their college. Young God's mind gets attacked, abused, and abolished. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. The truth is UFOs and underground bunkers still use nanotech to hunt us. Throat chakra tapper, watcher of the watchers, pulling up the skirts of the agent stalkers like dub plates and midnight marauders, stopping on e-villains, conspiring with warlords and straw guards, tried to hide but they saw us, with candles, tear the matrix, turn to sawdust. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it habitual. Too many look to use force and wasting power, leaving water running and you're not even in the shower. Class in the kitchen when I go to Palmer. On their court when the servants are on you. Ask for warrant cards and oaths of police enforcers. Only when we tell them will they do for us. Pulling out Billy bats ready for orders. Beat yourself in the head to a corpse corpus. This ain't the 60s, I'll help clansmen burn crosses. Suicide rhyme mission and vision got them taking losses. Codes are Morses, sung by daughters of a star and a set, the moon and the star orbits. Now we stand on the stage and player auctions, getting offers to play and trade options. You have no defense, only offense. Too late, no smiles when entering GM's office. 10-year veteran treated like a novice. You could act AI, Rodman or Williamson Corliss, or act Hamilton. Why? The players won't start their own league or try. Bad ass slapping and on the defense napping and getting schooled by rookie MVP captains, trapping for touch fouls or dribbles over crossing. They should give more than they profit from endorsements, getting fined for comments when fans torment. Only GM sons can apply for ball boy employment. Got sister from the hood paid brands to sing anthems, kicked out the league for drugging and sex scandals. Only real role models, no promos for Cole brothers. Donate on fee I made from their best-selling old novels. UPLIFTING humanity.
Breathing life to this game. Anyone exploiting the art, I got to kill them. I swing my sword, they die hard. Bruce Willis, this is for the minds of the young Asiatics. The most incredible when I speak mathematics. I generate revenue, so if you see me, I'm never sleepy. I shed light wherever we be, like no the last TV. I'm resurrecting critical thought when I'm expressing. With a depth, East Coast text is the return of the avatars, and we catching wreck till it ain't no ink left in any pen. Anywhere that we been, we fearsome. with the desire to make the peoples rise up. I'm like Enoch in exquisite scripture, diviner, paradigm shifting, rhyme designer, ascending higher. It's the sire, it's none live, sun's wiser. The Nazarene dream, lyrical messiah, building like a carpenter in Versailles. Hard body with the style, like the ancient poets from the distant past, with skin that was burned like brass, conducting like gold. That's melanin or melanine. I'm still in the limelight from any scene in the flash, like I wear a mask made for skiing. The pristinest MC when I'm teaching, never preaching. When I conceive, birth beneath the same degrees that was locked within my genes when my mother first perceived that I was coming into being. Basically, I'm the best at passing any trial or test. When I reach them on the path, rise above them like cream with supreme class. FOI the MCs when I spaz, and the wealth stacking is in action. The precious metal snatching, forging the justice sword slashing. Olive skin, Moorish assassin with woolly hair on my vein. The hardest spitting since 16, because I studied like a fiend, and now I smoke mics like Gil Scott is heron. Some we reigning, and from here on we slay men who fake illumination, but they own personal gain. And the new Mars is here, yo, it's time for changes.
Yo, I Jeff to the core empowers me. Super Saiyan levels, Dragon Ball Z. Even if you see me, you don't see me. Alchemy equals backwards in my trees. How they make the fruits with no seeds in the trees? I'm supernatural. Make the stuff with ease, like my nuts blowing in the breeze. Fun to shit them. As they walk in the streets, it's Car City. My heart is for my people. Spiritual war, heavy artillery, movement to store. Blood and guts spills, face get torn. So I drop bombs of melanin, only unborn. Ultimate darkness crushes the fake masses. Mess around, get turned out like jackasses. We are the chemistry, get studied in classes. Fly by pit trails, leave rashes on asses. This stuff ain't for the weak, not for the savages. Sight beyond sight, leave murmuring bandages. Circle 7 light, man they can't handle this. Shine that bright, get shook in my presence. Don't make me have to stub nose you with my silence. My essence crushes evidence, intensive resistance. Mother Earth gon' shake, man, and rackle the pestilence. No chemical injections, aka vaccinations. My spidey sense went off, time to switch locations. Locations. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it in ritual. Something surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it in ritual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it in ritual. Circle 7 surrounded by 4 corners. The ritual is typical, we do it in ritual.
Let's get emotional, take it out, be under pressure of the oppressor. We got to do it, got to make everything better. We all we got, so let's join together. I get emotional, take it out, be under pressure of the oppressor. We got to do it, got to make everything better. We all we got, so let's join together.
Gone are the days of some rest. Where are the days of less stress? Where are the days of calm unification? Fez and turban, the whole nation under a banner, get banned, got hanged. Canaanland is the song slave sang. Heading up north, past Niagara Falls. Gold on the neck and wrists on the shores. Some just walk, most rode on a horse. Tell memory of D when I lost on course. Hero on my shoulder, in my ear, in Morse. Code of my art with force. My families are noble, sheikhs and lords. First place of chakras, alchemist Moors. Since the battle of Tours, my face on his cross and noose. My face has troops and in roots. Let them tell your story, you lose. Hang on a corner, just another noose. Hang on a rim, slave to the game. Still got a 10 cause they got me trained. Noose on the brain, no jokes, no smiles. Bruce killers' names in library files. History of Moors, America lies in aisles. In the brewery of lies, from primary to secondary. Schools, concentration camps, lockdown scary. Twisting the laws and the keys and locks. Fascists, Nazis, those are not cops. Bloodstained shiny rocks. When force starts, it can't stop. But it will, with the will of the people towards self, not the church steeple. They say we equal, but act opposite. Ego sees a way and then cops it. Robbing like robbing, not giving up the poor. Collecting handouts, not giving up the cure. In parts, not holistic. Mystic, natural, not ours. Mystic, national, that's wise. Big shades, it's not iron sheet but plies. All of the puppets sit sewn and stuff it. The rap game is Mickey's, that's how they love it. Climbing the charts forever, can't get above it. Putting out whack album plus with the budget. I damn rappers floors and they can't budget. Lose $1 million house, you can't budget. They use the net and seduce a pen pal. Male or female, that's the signal. I can see Puffy the Magic Dragon puffing. Dancing the fez, man, you just bluffing. That fez should get grabbed off the head, get busting, and get cussing, some pushing and shoving. Rap nerds wanna be cool like McLovin. Rap Hitler put rap Jews in the oven. Rap nerds wanna be cool like McLovin. Rap Hitler put rap Jews in the oven.
Under pressure of the oppressor, we got to do it, got to make everything better. We all got, so let's join together. I get emotional, under pressure of the oppressor. We got to do it, got to make everything better. We all got, so let's join together.
Yeah. I get emotional. I'm on the verge of saying fuck this bro. When I look at other work that's been put in the canal, it gets more personal. More brothers in jail than the slaves. Underpaid, underserved, money crave. Prison is a rite of passage to the eyes of the youth when they're raised from the youngest age. You're not a man until you feel decay. You kill your people with a sword of gauge. Niggas hate this so much, might as well hail Hitler. Follow with the skin that's crazy. Like a furry must grow unscathed. No more civil liberties getting waived. Come on, nationality. I'm a more than for sure on the triple crown, it's engraved. But it's not enough, speak is your voice. Committed to use your option of choice. AHF is always on the battlefield with a shield till we win, then we'll rejoice. Back on this mic again, genetically bred to win. I gotta thank God for this day, it's a gift that my skin's got melanin. My words must change our condition. Great children with love and vision. Rappers, I mean rappers who can do the funny names added to this inquisition. Charlie whispers to Charlie head rush. When you try and get your head bust. 50 steps is the way that we walk unspark in the dark. There's nothing to discuss. When I get emotional,
Under pressure of the oppressor, we got to do it, got to make everything better. We all got, so let's join together. I get emotional, under pressure of the oppressor. We got to do it, got to make everything better. We all got, so let's join together.
Have you ever really wondered where the sky is blue? I hear where the Anunnaki is it true? Tell me what you wanna do, you wanna swim in the bling, but fool spells through. Undercover cops at your block, oh, thinking it's a god, but it's really the Gestapo. President's a damn prop, just a puppet like Pinocchio and Lamb Chop. Damn rock, damn hops, take the Yoda back. Jews at the football games, team better go to back. Hammer them wanna be fully putting up for the black music videos on BET, make your heart attack, your body. All to the ground, start screaming, stop. Think that it's air that you're breathing hot. You don't know about the Stargate and the Gulf of Aden that the armies are releasing. I heard Cthulhu's not sleeping. BP spills the oil and not weeping. The diamonds on the floor start sweeping into your pockets. Give me free things. Obama is the president, great, but they told you that would happen in the movie. Had to stay, get it straight. Sit in the sun and meditate. Everyone is born with an expiration date. Life is really nothing but a period of grace, separating the best genetic material from the waste and then sending it with haste into the next generation. Constant accumulation of trivial information is blocking civilizations, slowing social progress, reducing the rate of evolution. It's how the humans will lose. The truth is moved. Northeast, west, and south is called news.
Under pressure of the oppressor, we got to do it, got to make everything better. We all got, so let's join together. I get emotional, under pressure of the oppressor. We got to do it, got to make everything better. We all got, so let's join together.
Einstieg 4, we've been telling them. let's have some unity. I've been telling them let's have some unity. But they don't want unity. They want to keep you enslaved. This is something we never did in a long time, probably. But something we haven't done in a long time. On a Tuesday. Tuesday? When's the last time we did this on a Tuesday? To be proclaimed at every meeting. Islam. I am glad to know that I have a few faithful Moors among you all, and I desire for them to know the truth and the divine truth. So I say Islam to all the Moors out there who know that they're Moors. The Moors out there who study and they don't play, chase people, and they need some type of leader guy to help them do whatever. They just be Moors. You need to ask anybody any damn questions. So go be, if you're a Moor, then you probably would have studied to know how to do whatever it is you're doing. If you're not doing it, then you're probably not studying. Because if you study, you know how to do stuff. Not rocket science. So to all the faithful Moors, honors to you for staying on the course, because you know the BS that you got to deal with when you start proclaiming your nationality. You know, when you start proclaiming your nationality, that's when family turn enemies. Friends turn backstabbers. So you start talking about you're more. Then you think back in history. But even on this side, when the Spaniards came over here, you think they didn't have some of these indigenous whoever's on their side working with them? You think there wasn't a sellout over here too? You think they really had only faithful people in this jurisdiction? Oh no, there's some dirtbags over here too, doing BS, who are descendants of their forefather who started this whole creation of making people BS so you could have a slave. Moors started that. Not some Europeans started enslaving people. Moors, dark-skinned people, Africans, black, we call them whatever you want. Those guys started the negative stuff. They didn't just build pyramids and stuff. Just as big as pyramids went into heaven, so the base of the pyramid went into hell. And somebody had to have jurisdiction there. Just ask Osiris and all those guys who were kings and gods and whatever of the dead, who are all you people out there who don't want to be Moors. So honors to all the faithful who declared and proclaimed. There is a host of jealousy about me and the movement now by the same people on our side of the nation that claim that I was only a joke and unreal. Right? They claim that he's a joke and unreal. This is what they claim. This is what they claim. It's real interesting how they're making that claim in newspaper. Newspaper said that Noble Drew Ali's name isn't Noble Drew Ali. And he was a magician and he had a crystal ball and he wore a purple hood and trying to play their little scare BS with you. But it's interesting how majority of the people majority of the people who are using this vehicle called newspaper or whatever, they're taking that as credible. They're taking it as what they're saying in there, that's the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. That's their position. They went to paper to do that. Remember, these people are the people who are out there in the community and they're doing the, they're doing the stuff. They're doing their thing. They're doing their thing. Trying to wake up the people, liberate the people, make the people conscious of who they are and all this. But they're going to go to some newsprint as a reference point and say that that's credible. You know what I mean? That you can't refute anything that these people are saying in the newspaper because this is a newspaper. If it's a newspaper, then okay, they're saying that it's credible. Now, I really wanted to know, how are they qualifying? Like, what are they using to say these guys are credible? Because one thing that these people always talk about, show and prove and all this stuff. Show and prove. Show and prove. So we're going to show and prove. We're going to show and prove. There's a host of jealousy about him and the movement now by the same people on our side. These guys over here talking BS about Noble Drew Ali exposed. They're going to make a documentary and show you the stuff you never seen before. Noble Drew Ali, that make you not claim that you're a Moor. These people are working with the Inquisition. Keep playing. The same people on our side of the nation, because they're Moors too. They're telling you they're black and they're African and they don't know what they are and they're ADOS and their acronyms and their adjectives and all that stuff, but they're not Moors. These people are playing you. And they're trying to convince you not to be a Moor. Well, they want to show and prove. So they show and prove with their, how long was their BS again? They show and prove for 3 hours using newsprint to show that Noble Drew Ali is some fraud. Saying, making the point, taking a stance for a newspaper. That what this newspaper put out is the real truth about everything having to do with Moors. You don't listen to anybody else. You just listen to this European newspapers. So if we're gonna go with that, then we're gonna go with this as newsprint then. They want to say newsprint. We're gonna go with this. So this is masslive.com news. This is a community newspaper, but they have a website. In the website, they have their little celebration stuff going on, and they got pictures of people with their names there. No, this picture right here, the L to R, left to right. All right, okay, let's see. Yusuf L, Caleb, and Derek Murphy, and Smokey Joe. Yusuf L, Caleb, and Derek Murphy, and Smokey Joe. And then we just say, oh, yeah, More in the newspaper. Hey, nobody didn't tell him he can't wear that, and why are you wearing that? And you can't take that picture. Could you take that off so we can give you one of the Smokey Joe baseball hats? You wear that? No, they accepted the fact that he was a Moor and proclaimed themselves so by saying Yusuf El. But I have a little question, just because, when I look at this picture right there, like I know there's more right here. I don't know anybody else in the picture, but I know that more right there. And then I was wondering, what happened? So I said, let me call the Moor so we could show and prove. So we could show and prove why Noble Drew Ali said, your own press. Stop listening to goddamn people.
Yep.
Stop listening to people, especially if they say that they're European and stuff like that, and they're trying to, but they're writing articles talking crazy about Noble Drew Ali. They were even so smart at their ritual to not call him by the name so that the backlash doesn't come back on them. That's how serious they are.
Yep.
Think about that. Because remember, we're trying to prove. We're trying to show and prove why Noble Drew Ali said your own press, and there's a host of jealousy about him. Not about the Moorish movement, not about the Moors, not about the Moroccan flag, not about because we wear fezzes and turbans. Because of Noble Drew Ali, there's jealousy. But I yield the floor more. You could go into your session.
It's love.
It's love.
Yeah, cause it's all, cause they make it seem like the newspaper is the all be all. They thought the newspaper, like you were saying, they thought the newspaper clipping and that's it. That's the whole thing. Now, at this event right here, cause that's me, that's Brother Yusuf right there in the picture. Now, they were just taking the pictures of the event, what was going on. Now, the newspaper guy who was there, I wrote my name down, my title down on the piece of paper for him correctly. Y-U-S-U-F, not A-F. Y-U-S-U-F-E-L. I wrote my title down for him on the paper, and he still put it in there. You safe. I don't even know what that. I don't know what that says.
Yo, that says you safe.
You safe.
You safe. You not out. You safe.
You safe. That is not me. That is not me. That's not how you spell my title. Like but
that's the newsprint though. Like this was in the paper. This was in the paper, right? So okay. So if this so if this was in the newspaper, isn't that actual factual? Like I don't care if it was like what do you mean? Why would it matter if it's an A or a U? I mean, just like they said Noble Drew Ali is a candle seller or whatever like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? And he had nothing to do with anything divine. He was a charlatan and all this stuff. Like that's coming from newsprint.
Yeah.
We're showing you can't take that as legit, especially if they're foreigners in your land. You're playing games with these people when they're not playing with you.
Yeah. And that was a European now the name of the festival is called the so-called Indian Soul Festival. And it's all dark-skinned Moors that be there. But the publisher of the newspaper, European. That masslive.com, that's the local newspaper website stuff out here. Europeans run that. And they were at the event with all Moors. But the Moors there at the festival, they don't have their own print. They don't have their own print. But the European's there, and he's in there putting my title incorrectly in the paper that I spelled out for him. I wrote it down, and he still wrote it incorrectly. Now, I was telling the Grand Sheik, now, 100, 200 years from now, somebody is going to go read that article and be like, oh, more. You know, and see, you safe. Why you spell his name like that? Like, not knowing that it's a misprint. Because you believe the all be all, the newspaper got it right. No. I'm here right now telling you that's incorrectly spelled right there. But 100 and 200, because it's like, I looked up the news article, that article happened last year. I typed it in today. It's still misspelled today, a year later. 99 years from now, it's still going to be misspelled in that paper. Just like that. And now somebody going to be talking about, oh, I found the article. Brother, it was you safe, not useless. It's like, no. No, that's not how it works. That's not how none of that works. Because that's what we just did. We just did it. It's just only been a year. It's just only been 1 year. But if you go back a year, the article is still misspelled. It's not correct. It's not correct at all. At all. At all. And then, technically, everybody's title in that paper is misspelled because everybody in there is a Moor. But I'm the only one with a Moorish title misspelled. And everybody else in there that look like Moors got European titles. So the whole thing is wrong. But these guys still say the newspaper is correct. The whole thing is colored. The whole thing is colored. The whole article is colored. Indian Soul Festival, the title is colored. That's colored. That's Los Indios. We know that. It's in the newspaper though, so it's real.
It's real.
But Indian is Los Indios.
Yep. Yep.
The name of the festival is Indian Soul Festival. Like it's some big spiritual dress up thing. That stands for Los Indios, the godless heathens. That's the festival. That's what that stood for. But it's in the newspaper, so it's the all be all. And these people bring it up today and make it seem like, you know, the sellout, dirty Moors, because those are Moors. That's a Moor. The new black knowledge guy who put this video up that we're about to go in on, he's a Moor. Just a dirty Moor who's putting up Spanish Inquisitional practices against the Moors.
Jealous of the fame and nobility.
Yep. That's exactly that.
Jealous of the fame and nobility.
Better than that.
Okay. Why misspelled names are so common and what journalists are doing to prevent them. 2012, these people figured it out. 2012, these people figured it out.
Say the name of the article again, Grand Sheik.
Why misspelled names are so common and what journalists are doing to prevent them.
They're admitting themselves. Now, hold on. This is the newspaper that they say is the all be all. Because they're using it for the profit. This is them telling you that we messed up. We got it. We got it now. We're going to try to figure this thing out. They're telling you they messed up. But these guys go get an article and say, oh, look, we found this is but they're telling you 2012 that, they've been messing up for years. In the article, they're going to break it all down.
Right, from writing someone's name and not putting 2 letters. Elliot. Put in 1 T or 1 L.
So they spelled plenty. If you go in the article,
stuff. Yeah,
they spelled Kanye West's name wrong.
Yeah,
they spelled also everybody. Like, how you spell Kanye West wrong?
Yeah, right. Calling Osama Obama.
You see what I'm saying?
Calling Osama Obama. In newsprint.
It's the newsprint. Somebody gonna get that 200 years from now and be like, see, Obama was Osama bin Laden. It's in the newspaper. Like, that's what they're gonna be. Somebody's gonna try to prove it with that article 200 years from now, just like this dirty guy did.
Jealous of the
Same
fame and
thing.
nobility. Jealous of the fame and nobility. They can't even help it. They can't even help it. But now, since they have found out from the government officials and the nations of the earth that this is the only sole foundation that all Asiatics must depend upon for their earthly salvation as American citizens, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me so they may take charge of the situation. Remember, the sellout is real. He's not just talking about Moors in the temple only. You forget that he was a universal prophet and his philosophy is universal? They are working every scheme. Once you know, newsprint people, journalists are telling you, well, you know, we messed up in the stuff and all that stuff. You can't take them as real anymore. You can't just say that that's what it is just because it was in a newsprint. The journalists are saying that they, you know, we messed up some stuff. They are working every scheme that they can. They're working every scheme that they can. And again, these schemers are using the prophet. Try to get their scheme.
That's another prophecy too.
Go ahead, more.
I said that's another prophecy too, with them using every scheme. It's another prophecy. It's 2019. He said that back in the early 1900s. It's 2019, and people are still working every scheme.
Still working every scheme.
Still.
He wasn't talking about Moors only. He knew there was a sellout. He knew there was a sellout. He had no doubt in his mind that there was a sellout. And he was at the center of it because he realized no one could be trusted. Right, which is why that they never bring up. They're going to talk about all the people who said something or whatever, but they never go to Chicago Defender. To the Chicago Defender article that talks about Noble Drew Ali returning from a long visit south from visiting Marcus Garvey. You don't want to go with the postcard? You think that's fake and somebody, okay, fine, forget the postcard. What about the article from Chicago Defender that said it in newsprint? You're going to say now that we're not going to go with what the newsprint says? Because, you know, this is your argument. That Noble Drew Ali and Garvey never met. And this is a lie. Because there's a guy who said that he went to Marcus Garvey and he asked him, do you know about this man, Noble Drew Ali? Hold on a second. Forget Garvey knowing about him. Who's this guy and how does he know? And how come he's not a Moor proclaimed? Why is he Negro? How about go there? How about let's take one step to the left and go that way? Because they never bring that up. They keep talking about this guy who went to Marcus Garvey. Hey, Marcus Garvey. There's this joker, this charlatan around there named Noble Drew Ali. He's saying that he knows you or whatever like that. Garvey told him, I don't know him, but there's going to be people who's going to use my name for fame and all this type of stuff. Now that's hearsay. That's not admissible in court because Garvey can't be understand, and the guy who told who asked Garvey whatever can't be understand. So the whole case is in error. Next place you're going to go is newsprint.
Right, you got documented evidence. You got evidence. And you can go with the letter from the wife.
Yeah, that was the postcard.
And the dude who owns the Chicago newsprint was a brother. At least
At least that's a brother. It's a brother's newspaper. Just mentioning the name Noble Drew Ali in there. You're not going into anything other than covering Noble Drew Ali. Using Noble Drew Ali. They are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me, so they may take charge of the situation. They are using every scheme that they can.
Now, does this make more sense when later this guy does this medicine show? This, what you're looking at, ladies and gentlemen, with all this, do you get it now? This was a medicine show that he was performing. Don't miss the great Morris drama. Come ye everyone and see the seventh wonder of the world. It's like Houdini advertisement. The great Morris drama with constituents. Events in the last days amongst the inhabitants of North America. In this Morris drama, the need of a nationality will be made known to you through the acts of men, women, and children. There will be great lectures and this nationalistic topic by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and many of the sheiks of the grand body of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. You will all...
That sound like a goddamn circus to you? If you think that sounds like some magic show or whatever, if you think that sounds like some Shakespeare play is gonna happen, you have a mental problem. Remember the time that you're in right now. Back then, they have no iPhone and they could go find a Wi-Fi anywhere and watch a freaking sitcom. Remember, this is 1920s. What you mean he's having some Moorish stuff and inviting people to come there when this is supposed to be slavery times? You're supposed to be Negro. You don't know yourself. You just got emancipated yesterday.
Jim Crow at his finest.
And he has something unlocked to the level where he has addresses and all that. Now, again, you can't listen to this and think that it's solely based in some fiction. Remember again the time where we're at. So you just newly emancipated, you're walking around and somebody gives you this flyer right here. You're not going? If you got this flyer, remember you're newly emancipated. You don't have a culture or anything right now. Keep that in mind. You have all these sellouts in the midst. Everybody's trying to get you to join some black organization or whatever, and then you see this. Everybody trying to tell you about some civil rights BS, and then you see this. You tell me you're not going? And if you're somebody who's like, I wouldn't go to that, then that's why there's Noble Drew Ali prophesied that there's only going to be a handful saved. The ones who know what's up. The ones who took what Noble Drew Ali brought, applied it to see that what he's saying is real. It's not some book let us know that being a Moor is real. Being a Moor showed us that this is real. Islam Moor.
Islam.
I don't know if you have a jump in yet.
Yeah, I just wanted to add on so Moors can just listen the way just listen to him while he's speaking. And just want people to pick up on it. This is coming out of the book, How to Understand People and Predict Their Behavior Anytime, Any Place. Reading people. From Joellen Demetrius, PhD, and Mark Mozzarella on page 115. Soft voice. A soft voice can be used to manipulate others, or it can indicate a person who himself is easily swayed. With a low tone, many initially suggest that the speaker lacks confidence and assertiveness. Don't be fooled. A soft voice may well reflect calm self-assurance. The speaker feels no need to dominate a conversation. There also may be an element of arrogance. If you want to hear what I have to say, you just have to listen more closely. When evaluating the significance of someone's muted tone, you first need to determine whether he or she always has a soft voice or whether it has dropped on this particular occasion. You will almost always find an explanation if you look for someone when you. Okay, let me see that. You will almost always find an explanation if you look for one when low volume is not characteristic of the speaker's normal tone. The speaker's demeanor will probably provide confirmation if you look carefully for the signs of grief, nervousness, embarrassment, and other emotional states discussed in chapter 3. But I just want people, because his voice bothers me. And it just seems, and it reminded me of this book. I'm like, yo, I've read his voice before. And I was like, hold on, let me go grab this book. And it reminded me of the soft voice when it said a soft voice can be used to manipulate others. So I was like, yo, he sounds like he's trying to be very manipulative.
Yeah.
And again, that's the book How to Understand People and Predict Their Behavior Anytime, Any Place by Joellen Demetrius and Mark Mozzarella.
And keep in mind too that this is Noble Drew Ali's press. Like this is This is his stuff that they're using. They are going to be working every scheme that they can, right? They didn't even go to that to know what that's about.
Right.
Think about it. They're telling you that, oh yeah, he's talking about all this stuff that's going to happen at this thing or whatever, which sounds like a circus. But they never went to see if that's really what happened there. Which is contradicting the other article that, why don't you just go with it? They're saying that he's a circus magician, so why don't you just go with this? Let's see where this goes. Let's see how deep this avalanche of lies is. Remember, Jwali called it out. That the press is the weapon. Not just for us to use, but also for others to use against us.
Yep.
What they're doing is using press as a weapon, which should qualify Noble Jwali's prophecy to you. Because in the 1920s, he told you that they're going to use press as a weapon against him.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2019,
in 2019, they study us very well, Green Sheep.
They study us.
You mentioned that.
They study us too well. And we don't even study ourselves.
Right. Yeah.
That's crazy. They study us too well.
To add on,
yeah,
more to look up. What these people had did, right? The so-called United States Army or whatever, when they went to the East, one of the things that they did to win one of the battles or whatnot, they had, because they know that the brothers from the East are very religious or whatnot, with Allah and whatnot, and what they ended up doing over like a loudspeaker or something where the people couldn't see it, but they played over the intercom like they made it seem like it was Allah speaking, telling them to put their weapons down. And our brothers, and they put their weapons down. And then colonists came right in, swooped right in. But that's another thing what the Green Sheep was saying. How they'll use our weapons against us. Like the brothers from the East, very, pray, love Allah, and all of that. They use that right against them. Prophet said, our biggest weapon is our press. You Europeans took that and used it right against us. Same thing. These colonists study us very well.
And we don't even study ourselves. Well, we do as far as morals, but I mean, we as in, the ones who claim that they know something about Noble Jwali. When he prophesied this stuff that we're going through right now, they are working every scheme that they can to disqualify me.
Yeah.
This is a scheme. They never went to this to know what it's about. And then they're going to say that, oh, look what he's talking about. He's talking about spaceships on it. He must be a weirdo. But you don't even know what happened at that.
All this comes from
drama. Say that again, more?
All this stems from that book, Before the Feds.
Yeah. And that too.
Same guy.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that's their reference. That's we beat up on already. That's where they get this information from. Back again, jealous of the fame and nobility. They look for anything to disqualify the prophet.
Anything to
nobody bring us our nationality and birthright. Nobody Nobody else bring that.
Nobody.
Nobody else bring that.
Nobody.
People in the comments talking about the prophet was good for his time. If you don't have a nationality right now, you're stateless. In 2019, what do you mean? How could every day nationality is the order of the day. Every day. All day. Every second. Nationality is the order of the day.
Yeah.
If you don't have a nationality, statelessness.
And on top of that, Noble Drew Ali said, I came to bring you out of mental slavery, which you have now.
Right.
Which when I look around, all I see is mental slaves around here. So Noble Drew Ali is very relevant to this time.
Yeah.
Because there's still mental slavery right now.
All day.
He's extremely relevant right now.
Yeah.
Throwing their own prophet under the bus.
Come eat, everyone, and see the seventh wonder of the world. It's like Houdini advertisement. The great Moorish drama with constituents. Events in the last days amongst the inhabitants of North America. In this Moorish drama, the need of a nationality will be made known to you through the acts of men, women, and children. There will be great lectures on this nationalistic topic by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali and many of the sheikhs of the grand body of the Moorish Holy Temple of Science. You will also hear one of the greatest Moorish female songstresses of the day, Madame Lomax Bey. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali will be bound with several yards of rope. Remember, Thomas Drew was being bound with cuffs and escaping him and all that magic tricks. So now the Prophet Noble Drew Ali will be bound with several yards of rope as Jesus was bound in the temple at Jerusalem and escaped before the authorities could take charge of him. So will the Prophet Drew Ali perform the same act, being bound by anyone in the audience, and will escape in a few seconds. Magic show, medicine show, wrapped in Indian Egyptian Blavatskyism and the Lawrenceism. He also will heal many in the audience. Here goes I healing again.
And again, when you talk about
arrogance,
when you talk about shamans, when you talk about witch doctors, when we talk about herbalists,
or even magic.
all of them are magicians because they've learned how to manipulate the ethers and to have nature work for them. They know how to manipulate the ethers and have nature work for them. These people, you just because of all the confusion, you forgot that Hannibal was telling you some of the secrets. So much BS been happening that this is not a show. If we are scientists and we know how to deal with the elements, that's not a show. I see Moors get out of cuffs. Easy. You know how you do that? You just put the thing in and then it just opens. Think about, okay, let me do a realer one. Let's do a realer one. Something more personal. Remember back in the day, the people who were adept on keeping a razor in their mouth? Like adept at that. And they have a razor blade in their mouth and you don't know. They have that, like, that's not magic. When the um Discovery Channel, whoever goes out into Indonesia or something, and they find that tribe, they go, yeah, we're gonna go fishing, and they take the boat out or whatever, and these guys go in the water and they're down there for minutes fishing. Go down there for minutes. That's not magic. That's no different than, so put the rope around the hand and watch me get out. If someone could go, if the average person can't go under the water for minutes, and there's this tribe somewhere that nobody ever heard of, that they're going under there for way past minutes. Not down there breathing. That's not magic. Manipulated the ethers. Manipulated the ethers to have their body do a metamorphosis so they can deal with their habitat, with what they were given. That's the only thing to eat over there is fish. And maybe that's the only place that you could get them if you want to eat something. And then they became their habitat. That's not magic. That's our ancient foremothers and forefathers. And again, remember the time back then. If you just came out of Christianity, you're a nigger slave. You think you're not going to this? The hell do you mean you're not going to this? And then when you go, it's probably a temple meeting. And that's how during the time of Jim Crow, the Moors were able to do what they were supposed to do without having any issues at all. In that time, 30,000 members in one temple, that's pretty impressive. That's very impressive, 30,000 members in one temple. 30,000 in one temple. Remember, 1920s. The work must have been being done. And again, in the Moorish drama, what's the Moorish drama? That's not some play. He's talking about the situation that's going on at that time. This is a drama. You have so many actors, nobody being themselves. And the need of a nationality will be made known. Through the acts of men, women, and children. Just keep in mind, they didn't have iPhones and all that. This was their recreation time. What you doing tonight? Yo, you seen this flyer with these people? You guys gonna be tied up with rope and all that stuff or whatever? You talk about Jerusalem and all that? Moorish drama? People out there were like Negroes today. These mentally enslaved Negroes who are 50,000 times more enslaved mentally than their foremothers and forefathers who were enslaved by some Europeans. Right? As soon as he says, as Jesus was bound in the temple at Jerusalem, you know he's trying to attract Christians. You know that. We're not going to sit here and think that he's putting out a flyer for an event that he's having. Yeah, we're going to have some lectures. And he's just, like, you know what this is like? This is like, when they have those party flyers and they have the fat ass girl pictures and stuff like that on the flyer. Okay, that's what this is. Manipulating the ethers to get a reaction from the receiver that is going to be in their interest. Forcing them to go to this. If you don't go to this, you know what Jesus is going to do to them back then? Just because it says Jesus on there? Remember, we're talking about people that again slavery and okay, fine, it came out slavery, cool. They use Jesus to enslave them, right? Yeah. So you could pretty much just mention Jesus and slave will come running, right? Because that's what they were taught by the slave master, that Jesus is the okay, so if I say Jesus on this flyer, then these Negroes have to come to this. That was the fat ass girl picture.
Yep. Yep.
That they put on the flyer to make you look. That's why for all the non-studiers who were looking at the naked, they're looking at the naked girl in the little ad that popped up instead of focusing on the class. That's why I put the lady in the red dress there.
The red dress, right? Took the words right out of my mouth. There you go.
To get the ones who, if that's what you like, there you go. Because you obviously you don't need to hear what really this is about. So Jesus just did. So Noble Drew Ali is going to get bound with yards of rope. Just like Jesus was bound in the temple of Jerusalem. Now, we weren't there to know if he did. Maybe he did do it. I don't know. If he got out the rope, I wasn't there. But let's just say you went and he did it. Now what? Let's just say you went and people were going up to him and he was actually healing them. The people said that, or C. Freemanell said that the people missed Noble Drew Ali because they were waiting for Jesus. The people missed Noble Drew Ali because they were waiting for Jesus. Think about the context of this flyer that was put out by the Moorish Science Temple of America. We have this flyer in our possession. This is not some stuff they, doctored to make this is the flyer. But when you have mineral oil, bath salts, herbal tonic, those stuff heal. That's how he healed the many people in the audience without touching them. As they stand in front of him, here's the medicine. Here's the medicine. And in the Moorish Guide newspaper that you can go to any Moorish Science Temple of America, Moorish Guide newspaper, archives. Anybody claiming Grand Major or whatever, they know exactly what I'm talking about. They can show you in the archives the testimonials that people who weren't Moors, who weren't proclaimed, were sending in to tell people, yeah, I had the knee pain or whatever, and I took Noble Drew Ali's remedies and no more knee pain. I had the gout. I had the stomach, whatever. I had the shoulder. And Noble Drew Ali's remedies cleared that up. That's not magic. That's our culture as Aboriginal Indigenous people.
Right.
You think we had diseases before we met Europeans?
Quick interjection, Grand Chief.
There's a lot more.
My question is why? Okay, the prophet did it. He had a bunch of remedies and stuff like that. But okay, Dr. Sebi does it. They're not cussing out Dr. Sebi. You don't hear nobody reading articles when he went into the Supreme Court, with the arrogant reading it voice, you know what I mean? Like magic, or herbal medicine, like, and then like, why won't they defame him? Dr. Alim has medicines and stuff like that. There's a bunch of herbalist doctors that are around. Why didn't they come at any of them?
Yeah. Right now in their
Why
time.
come at Noble Drew Ali? Why Noble Drew Ali? You could have said anything about any of these herbalist doctors. Why pick on Noble Drew Ali? Like, what is the reason why you're trying to defame Noble Drew Ali? Like, you're saying the article is disproving his title, and you're saying you're trying to clown his herbal stuff. Like, now what are you coming at the main thing, which was nationality and birthright? Like, that's the main thing, nationality. So you didn't defame nothing. You know what I mean? The whole thing is nationality and birthright.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, where is all of this coming from? Like, the medicines and stuff like that. Like, when you ask people regularly, what do you know about Noble Drew Ali? First thing they're gonna tell you, he teaches us that we got nigga color black. That's the first thing they tell you. They'll tell you, about his remedies and stuff like that. No, more don't even talk about that. Right, the first thing they talk about is nationality and birthright. This guy's bringing this fraudulent stuff up. Like, it's so much, because we can still go in on, well, who wrote the article? Like, he's paper. Who are these people? And then when you do the research, you come to find out, some Scooter families, the English Scooter family and stuff like that. Like, You got the emails, all the documents and stuff right there, Grinchy. I don't know if you want to go in on it now.
Yeah, I'm about to pull them up right now. The screenshotty.
Yeah, I see it. Yep. Because it'll show you where all of this is coming from. Because the Richard Scooter and Wallace Scooter, his father, Richard Scooter, was he's the founder of the Newark Daily News newspaper, which was founded in the 19th century, like the 1883, I think. And but before then, these people stem from the Scooter family that came over from so-called England. As Sir Drake Scooter was the first person that came over here, and it goes into how the whole family were Princeton grads. The whole entire family went to Princeton, and then the book that the Grand Sheik just about to pull up, is going to go in on how they're all Masons, all the lodges they belong to, all of that. And this is who owns this newspaper. And this is who the new black knowledge guy is using to go against Morris.
A Masonic newspaper. You know that the only reason he has a newspaper is because of Mason.
Yep.
You don't know European in America with a newspaper company and you're not a Mason in the 1920s. No European is out here without being part of the lodge. The prerequisite. Because these Europeans were on the run from the Moors.
Yeah.
They were on the run from the Moors. Yeah, they left England and came over here and started. No, that's not what was going on. They were on the run.
Yep.
And if they could just get across the Atlantic, oh, they'll be safe. They know.
You got the article there?
Yeah, I got it up.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, Princeton.
I mean, the book called The Hanging Rock Iron Region.
Yeah, the Hanging Rock Iron Region, yeah.
Yep, the last paragraph.
Yeah, the last, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Fraternally, Mr. Scudder joined column lodge number 120, ancient free and accepted Masons in Trenton, New Jersey, of which he served 1 year as master, and is now a member of the Aurora Lodge number 48, ancient free and accepted Order of Masons of Portsmouth. He also belongs to the Cavalry Commandery number 13, Knights Templar, and to the Solomon Council number 79, Royal and Select Masters. Mr. and Mrs. Scudder are members of the Presbyterian Church, which he is serving as an elder. And that was the pops, right?
Look at this. Great. Look at that with the pops, right?
You told me he doesn't have that paper because his pops was a Mason? The hell out of here. And then now these people who you say are working for you or whatever, they're working with the Knights Templar and the whatever, using their paper as a reference. You told me they're not selling you out. The reference point they're using, the Guat Noble Juali Foundation, is Freemasonry. Freemasonry. The same stuff that you're supposed to be talking about. You're not with them because that's the New World Order and the Illuminati and whatever like that. But these conscious guys are working with them.
Yeah.
If they're going to be pushing the Lodge Boys newspaper
Oh, yeah.
as a reference point to try every scheme that they can to disqualify Noble Drew Ali. Like, come on, what more we gotta show you? What more has to be said?
Right.
These guys are
This is
scutters.
incredible.
These guys are scutters. They're not raw whatever and new knowledge whatever. They're scutters. They're European property.
Yeah.
They're not for the liberation of their people. They're under the wing of the select masters.
Yep.
They're the butt
All of
boys,
that.
the butt boys for the cavalry commandery.
Mm-hmm.
You're thinking that this is about some circus, whatever? That was the fat ass girl stuff.
The prop.
That was her squeezing the titties together and stuff like that, so you could get a good look at them. While you miss that all these guys are Masons that founded the newspaper, or is the father of the founder of the newspaper that these guys are using to defame your prophet. Forget ours, because we're Moors already. I already rep Noble Drew Ali. These people not saying nothing to change my mind about what they can say whatever. You say whatever the hell you want. Not changing my mind. We're putting this out there for these people whose minds they're changing out here. Talking BS. Like this should be it. As soon as you say, hold on a second, what do you mean? The guy who, hold on a second, they're saying Noble Drew Ali did something. They're using a newspaper as a reference. The founder of the newspaper's dad is a Mason in every lodge you can think about. They're not going to go with that, but they're going to go with Trayvon Martin's dad was a Mason. So his murder had something to do with the Illuminati because his dad was a Mason. And then, okay, well, we're telling you right now that the dad of the guy who used the paper is a Mason. How come you're not yelling conspiracy?
All Princeton grads, too.
And Princeton grads. They didn't go to no quote unquote black college or whatever. HBU.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't go to that. They went to Princeton. They went to the Euro school. They went to learn how to talk like this so they can get there. Boinker, boinker. Ancient, free, and accepted Masons are who these guys are running with.
Right.
They're for the liberation of you. These are the people you're going for with liberation?
Yeah.
Who are talking nutso? Using a reference point that they shouldn't even be using because it's completely out of context. Like Brother Yusuf says, let them talk.
He also will heal many in the audience without touching them. You got to throw this again, free of charge. Remember, that was the setup 15 years prior in Newark, New Jersey, free of charge. Then you find out you got to pay $1. Stand in front of their seats, manifesting his divine power.
Well, the other part too. He was just charging $1. They have no fiat notes back then. What are you talking about? Look where their mind is at. These are the people who are the scholars or whatever of your stuff. These are black guys who you gonna wreck. They're gonna go give them their views while they defame for popularity, while they stoop to the lowest of lows to lick the slime of life for arousal. They're gonna tell you that he was supposed to do this for free, but he ended up charging you $1. Dollar what? What dollar are you talking about? Because a servant is worthy of his hire. And if I heal you, you should be going in your pocket. I shouldn't have to ask you for anything. Because remember, we're talking about Moorish Manufacturing Company. We're not talking about he was some freaking guy at the corner with some stuff he made at his house. They had a freaking manufacturing company making the herbs that they're talking about. About healing people. There was a company making that, packaging it. He wasn't some guy at his house with bowls everywhere making his products. He had a manufacturing company that was doing that. Just remember that he had a manufacturing company.
Does this document make sense now? Does this document make sense now? Now that you know who Thomas Drew is, and now that you know that Thomas Drew is really later becomes Noble Drew Ali. So there was a question.
Virginia, don't forget.
Where, that's where I'm going right now, of where he could have gotten his information that he admitted to himself from. Let's type correspondence in my clippings and see what we come up with. Look what we have here. A correspondence college. Did Noble Drew, did they say that his paperwork said he was from Virginia? Yes, it did. Let's read what was in the Ali would form the Moorish Science Temple around the publication of the Circle 7 Quran, which encapsulated teachings from Levi H. Dowling's 1908 publication, The Aquarian Gospel of Jesus the Christ, the anonymous Rosicrucian book unto thee I grant. And he was traveling between New York and Chicago at the time. We can only imagine what other occult influences may have crept in. You know who published this book? It was the Lawrence's company. So now, when you go back and you see, and
now let's just make something clear. Let's just make something clear. Many of the learned teachers and high initiates assisted the prime minister, and when the task was finished and translated manuscript was brought to the Emperor of China by the prime minister, here the English gentleman and his associates on the commission examined it, and with the privilege of the Emperor of China and the linguists of his court, another translation was made of it in English, solely for the purpose of delivering the English copy to the Earl of Derby, as explained in the letter to the Earl reproduced above. So remarkable was this translation, and so unusual the doctrines and teachings contained therein, that the Earl of Derby authorized or permitted a reproduction of the translation in English to a limited number. These copies were well bound and preserved, and were finally distributed to the chief officers or executives of the several secret mystic organizations then existing in Europe. Now this is onto the Grant. The book they're saying that Noble Drew Ali copied and all the stuff like that, and they go into this thing about the European made this book and all that. Now in the preface, the strange story of this book, they go into how this book came from some monks. Now Noble Drew Ali, in the same Holy Quran of the Moor Science Temple of America, told you that the reason these lessons have not been known is because the Muslims of India, Egypt, and Palestine had these secrets and kept them back from the outside world. And when a time appointed by Allah, they loosened the keys and freed these secrets. And for the first time in ages, have these secrets been delivered in the hands of the Muslims of America, all authority and rights of publishing of this pamphlet, 1927. So the lessons themselves in the Holy Quran of the Moor Science Temple of America comes from some Buddhist monks. That's why we give honors to Buddha and Confucius, because that's where they got the lessons from. That's why Noble Drew Ali said we honor all true and divine prophets. Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Confucius, and Ali. This is not some European information. This is our information. He knew that the frequency of "Unto Thee I Grant" was not for the liberation of Asiatics. It was for the liberation of Europeans. The economy of life. Who was it revised by? Sri. Sri is not European. Everything that they have came from us. And all we have to do as a people is stop playing like we know stuff and go study. Because everything has been revealed. There is no expose of anything anymore. Like Brother Yusuf said, it still comes down to nationality and birthrights. You could say whatever. It's still going right back down to nationality and birthrights. That's all that matters. Everything else is part of trying to get you away from nationality and birthrights. Right? The more just sending stuff. Newspapers, the Chicago Defender, founder, editor, Robert S. Abbott. They're not going to go ride with him. They're going to ride with some Europeans. Chicago Defender. Why? Why wouldn't they use their boy right now? Tell me if they weren't down with Noble Drew Ali. The Defender did not use the words Negro or Black in its pages. That's why they're not going against Chicago Defender. That's why they're not going to use Chicago Defender as a reference point. Because Chicago Defender had adopted the teachings of Noble Drew Ali already. And they were not going to use Negro or Black in their articles. No page is going to talk about people being Negro and Black. Why? Because there was a prophet during that time. And the Prophet Noble Drew Ali to these people was their salvation bringer. He was their salvation bringer. Instead of African Americans were referred to as the race. Why? Because if you call everybody the race, then nobody is going to be left out. And then you give them the Noble Drew Ali pamphlet again. And it said, if you have race pride, since you call yourself race men and race women, join the Moorish Science Temple and learn the truth about your nationality and your birthrights. You think those people wouldn't go? Remember, Chicago Defender is a reputable newspaper. That wasn't some small time operation. Chicago Defender was reputable. If he was connected in any type of way to Noble Drew Ali, then he was definitely going to be targeted and used. Because once you tie yourself to Moors, here they come, trying to get you back into Black and keep you there. Not liberate you, keep you in the enslavement. And this time, that it's mental enslavement. There's a lot more.
Yeah, there's a lot. But the thing is, the total opposite. Because my thing is, if we're not Moors, so we're Black. So that's the thing. Because for example, you know those sovereign citizen video guys that try to go against Moors? They got the video up with the Moor with the flag coming out of his window. Yeah. And, they're trying to bash him, what he's doing and whatnot, calling him out or whatever, saying he's not who he is. But my thing is, what do you want him to say? Oh, I'm Black guy? They already done said on the videos, we kill Black people, remember? And now, cause that's the total opposite. If you're not a Moor, you have to say you're Black. But the Black is similar to Moor too. It goes back to statelessness. So how can they couldn't say that they were Black? That's the whole thing with these guys going against the prophet and stuff. My whole thing is, if we're not Moors, what are we? We're Black. And that just gets rid of the whole argument, because they know we're not Black. Like, you can't be Black. You know that. That's regular. Like, you can't even try to convince.
Play like, yeah.
Like, convince a child. Nobody on the planet. Like, it's just regular. Like, I'm not Black. Like, yeah, I know that. Like, come on. Like, yeah, a regular person, like, clearly, I'm not Black. Yeah, I know. I know. Like, so what's going on? We're not. So what are we then? And that's when you can tell somebody is selling out, jealous of the fame and nobility, playing games with the Birthright. They just are going like trying to just get views. They want to be the guy. They like for no reason. The Noble Drew Ali, he did it. Nationality is the order of the day. Forget it. He came back in 1913. That's the order.
Yeah.
But the thing, we got all of this sellout, Boule, Prince Hall, Freemason, Knights Templar stuff. Because that's the other thing. I keep looking at the article, and the dude, Scooter, who founded the newspaper in Newark, New Jersey, right? Like that's bugging me out. I'm like, and right in New York, and it was in between the time of 1880 and 1920, and I'm like, well, that's wow. And then I'm like, okay. Now, when you look at the article, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, Strider, whatever.
Scudder, whatever.
The founder of the newspaper. Look at all of those lodges he was down with in Newark, New Jersey. I'm like, look, it's like 6 lodges he was with in Newark, and then one in Portsmouth, whatever. But he was like down with like 5, 6 lodges in Newark alone. And then I'm like, the prophet walked into that.
Yeah.
Like he walked into all of that. That's what he was walking into. Like that's what was going on when that newspaper came out. Like they knew, because that was the against the prophet. Look at all of those Knights Templars. All of that's against the Moors. All of those things was going against the Moors while they're secretly practicing and studying Moor science. The Knights Templar, all of those lodges. But they going against the Moors. And right around the same time the prophet's coming in, he's coming into five, because when you look at it historically, all of those Knights Templars, all of those lodges were wars against Moors. Knights Templars started fighting against the Moors after we taught them everything. They started having wars against the Moors. All of them just started going against the Moors after we taught them all. All of those lodges are set up in the same order of wars that had against the Moors. It's the same thing, same orders. And that's who our people, dirty Moors, are siding with, using their information. Again, it goes right back to what the Grand Sheik was saying. Why aren't they using the Chicago Defender? Why not use your own people's stuff? You're using European. You use the European. He shows you who the European stuff is. He's Spanish Inquisition. He's on the other side. Right in the it's all crazy to me. Like to see how people are really because the whole thing is nationality and birthright. Why are you? So you're trying to defame the prophet because that's what he brought us. So you're trying to defame him because when you defame him, that means the nationality and birthright he brought us is fraud too. Is that what they're saying?
They're saying that.
Because they can't say that neither. That's like the same thing as black. Like, you really can't be black. Like, and then you really got to have a nationality. Like, you got to have one. And we never even thought to think that. Just like when I was down south, the lady, she said, "Oh, what's that on your head?" Oh, so I'm a Moor. What's your nationality? She said, "Oh no, baby, I'm a Christian." You see what I'm saying? Like that's what's going on.
No, you mean you're a Morisco. You're a Morisco.
Right. They have no exactly no idea what's going on. Just like the mother said, selling out unknowingly, knowingly or unknowingly. crazy, man. How they just go in the comments in there to like, oh, finally somebody got rid of Noble Drew Ali and his teachings, and I'm like, how can you just say stuff like go crazy and talk about like? Because I was telling the Green Sheet, I'm on the prophet's side, and I be scared to do stuff. I be like, I don't want to do that. I don't want, the prophet, you might not like that. I'm on his side, and I'm nervous. These people, you know what I mean, are going against them, and they're not nervous to say something crazy about the prophet. It's like, I'll be nervous.
Think that the last 5 times they crashed their whip, it was because of ice or whatever.
Right. Coming outside, boots on your conveyance and stuff like that, wondering why.
Why?
You going to work, and you're not going to work. You got boot on your conveyance, and it was your last time to call out. You can't call out no more.
You can't call out.
You can't call out no more. You was partying all Friday, every Friday calling out. Some came up. You said, "Oh, I'm calling out." All of that.
Mm-hmm.
Prophet been setting you up.
Setting you up.
Been setting you up. Playing games with the birthright.
Yeah.
Jealous of the fame and nobility, because you can't just say it's for no reason. It's really for the jealous. They're jealous of the fame and nobility.
Can't be for anything else. Nothing else makes sense. Like nothing else makes sense. They want to get on the Sinetta couch. The time that you could take to find out about reference points Noble Drew Ali's gave you relative to your nationality and birthrights. You waste your time going looking up these articles or whatever, because we took that same 3 hours time, and then we found out about these people are Europeans. That's who they're siding with. Doesn't that register in your head? Remember, those are the guys from the couch guys. We tell you just like we tell you that Dirty Morris talk just like SPLC. Same thing we're telling you with these people. These people are using European-founded newspapers as their reference point, but they're for the liberation of Asiatics. That's no different than Farrakhan got you Million Man marching on the same stage where they brought you to sell you. How you going to the same place where they sold you as Negroes to talk about you're liberated? Are you people out of your mind? Must be out your damn mind. Must be. Oh yeah, forgot about this one.
Here's a question for you. Where exactly is the Black Country? A simple question, and so you'd think. But for years, a fierce debate has been taking place over its precise location here in the West Midlands. Now, not even this map from the Black Country Living Museum has settled the argument, as plans were announced to mark Black Country Day. And we've had a huge response to this map on our Facebook page, including this message from Bill Hollingshead, who's clearly not a fan of maps. He says, the Black Country is defined by the way people feel and speak. It's rather like the end of the rainbow. You can point to it, but where is it really? It's a magical, mythical place that has no boundaries. But the only certainty seems to be that a special day to celebrate the region will be held in July. And Dudley was today named capital city of the Black Country. Let's go live now to Sarah Falkland in Dudley. Sarah, you are definitely in the Black Country, aren't you?
Most definitely, at least last time I looked, Mary. But yes, here we are. You could be mistaken, though, for thinking that you weren't in the Black Country, because this building only opened last Tuesday. It's brand spanking new, the Archive Centre here. 800 years of Black Country history. Well, as I say, today is as much about the present and the future for the launch of the Black Country flag. The Black Country, a place west of Birmingham, home to more than 1 million people.
The Black Country is about the people.
We're genuine, we're honest, and hard-working.
And now, thanks to this 14-year-old Black Country schoolgirl, they have their own flag.
The Black Country was described as black by day and red by night.
Black girl right there.
I've done part of it black and part of it red, and then I've done the glass cone in the middle, and some chains across it to show all the manufacturing and industry in the area. We were the core of the industry. Everything came from the Black Country, but it's our accent and people put you down because you haven't got a posh accent.
How about that, then, kid? That's Black Country.
The famous dialect aside, July the 14th this year will see the dawn of the first ever Black Country Day.
The Black Country culture is not celebrated enough. Wales has got the dragon, Scotland has got the referendum, and we need to proclaim what England is about, and the Black Country is at the centre of England.
You'll have heard no doubt about its canals, how the first steam engine was invented here, not forgetting those incredibly strong
It sounds like them. It sounds like one of them.
But what of today's Black Country? Somewhere you can find a Sydney.
The Black Country culture is not celebrated enough. Wales has got the dragon, Scotland has got a referendum, and we need to proclaim what England is about, and the Black Country is at the centre of England.
You'll have heard no doubt about England. How the first
Center of England. So you black guys, there's your stuff. There's your stuff. Go home. All you black guys, we found where you're from, where they took you from. Black guys.
Flag and everything.
Flag and everything. We found your country, black guys. So get a message to all the black guys that we found their country in England.
Yeah.
Black lives actually do matter. You have a home.
Yeah.
Go home.
They even got your slave chains on your flag. There you go. Go. They got everything for you. Go home.
Go home. You guys
want to be European so bad.
the steam engine
The Eurocentric thinking, everything. There you go. Home.
Strong
Black power.
Black power.
In the mid-1800s, 50% of all of Britain's iron was being produced right here in the Black Country. But what of today's Black Country? Somewhere you can find a casino next door to a mosque, learn kung fu fighting, then pop over the road for a tea dance. What does it mean to you, the Black Country?
Everything. I was born and bred here. We got to look after your own roots. For us, it's where we brought up. So as far as special place.
Well, another man for whom the Black Country is very special, Dr. Brian Dakin. You were born just down the road from here, weren't you?
Oldbury by the Cuts, yes, a bit away from here.
Now, you're an expert in the Black Country. What do you think is the essence of Black Country?
Well, to use a line out of a lyric that I wrote, it's strong guns and warm hearts.
Hands,
yeah. And heart, yeah, strong guns and warm heart, which encompasses the industry and the generosity of the people.
What do you think about the future of the Black Country now? A lot of it is, as we say, rooted in the past. Where's it going?
It continues to evolve. It's always evolved. So it will always be here, and it will always just embrace whatever comes into it, really, as a region. Yeah.
There's your welcome home. There's your welcome home right there, black guys. Black guys. They just get. This is the mirror right here, giving you your welcome back. Because you already know the Africans don't want you, because they would never came for you yet. So here's Black Country giving you their welcome home. All the black guys.
Yeah. Always just embrace whatever comes.
Go
What do you think
home.
about the National Black Country Day?
Boston.
National Black Country Day. Look at that.
It's fantastic. It's got a day for us to celebrate.
Black Country Day, black guys.
So, I mean, people are contacting myself about festivals and getting involved in that. So I think it would be a wonderful way to people just to let people know how proud they are of the region.
And no doubt you'll write a poem for it in its honour.
Yeah, it's been written.
There you go. You heard it here. He has promised. And the date for your diary, if you're in the Black Country or anywhere else in the West Midlands, is July the 14th, National Black Country Day. So
yeah, you got time to get there. It's only June.
They got your favorite stuff. She said it first thing, casinos. You go right down there, get your gamble on, go to your thing. Go do y'all black stuff y'all do.
We're looking out for y'all. We're looking out for y'all. Don't say we never did anything for you. Don't say we never did anything for you.
Yo, but do you see that? Look at those black people. Did you see it? They think like Moors made it up. We didn't make it up. The etymology of black means fail. Look at them. Look at them. They're right there showing you.
Black
We got our own 800 years of history. Somebody lied to these black guys and said they had 400 years of slavery.
Yeah. And just to show you how they're working on the other side. Spaniard, not European. No. We'd have to go with this because this news article, news is not real. In the current number of whatever magazine, there's an article by Captain Chadwick of the United States Navy in which he points out the fact that the Spaniard is not really a European, but largely a Moor in blood and character. The fact is beyond dispute, and it goes far to explain the retrogressive and bloodthirsty character of the Spanish nation. 800 years of Arab Mohammedan occupancy of Spain changed the original Latin character of the nation, leaving in its legacy of Moorish blood and of Muslim fatalism, which it can never shake off. It is not by chance that Wyer's Cuban something and Turkish sultans, Armenian massacres stand in twin blots of modern history. The Spaniard, though nominally a Christian, is first cousin to the Turk and is essentially a Mohammedan in thought, principle, and action. Kansas City Journal, 1898.
If you to add on to that too, Great Sheik, in the book We Are All Moors from Anwar Majid, he speaks of during that time, medieval time, in order to tell the difference between a Moor and a Spaniard, they would have to check for circumcision. If it was circumcised, that would determine if the person was a Spaniard or not. Christian. I said, well, damn, because they all look the same. Everybody was a Moor. Everybody was Moors.
That's crazy.
The only way they could tell is if you got circumcised, if you was Christian. I said, that was crazy.
That's crazy.
Anwar Majid, we all Moors.
Then there's this one here too. Once again, Richard Brent Turner, Islam and the African American Experience, since they say, certain people didn't meet certain people. Loyal to America, but I was younger, involved in the Black Panthers and all the nationalism. We like to say that Elijah Muhammad was influenced by Mufti Muhammad Sadiq. There is a photograph that exists of Elijah Muhammad and Mufti Muhammad Sadiq sitting together on the stage with Noble Drew Ali and Marcus Garvey, since they never met each other. Go debate Richard Brent Turner if you don't want to talk to Chicago Defender. There's Richard Brent Turner letting you know that they met. So don't let these people fool you into thinking that this thing wasn't locked down by our people. These Moors had it locked down because everybody was getting down into nationality and birthrights. and people were stopped playing games. It's really just that. The games were over. People were about the liberation of our people. Right? They were about the liberation of our people.
Hi, my name's Petra Hess from PetraPix.com. I'm going to teach you a pattern that I have used to generate consistent.
Some of her relatives once lived in the town of Canaan on the north part of the island. Today, only traces of that community remain.
I see bricks. Well, these are remnants from people's chimneys and foundations back in the 20s. My grandmother lived up here.
The northern part of the island, known as the Uppards, also bears the brunt of increasing erosion. Carol Pruitt Moore is 7th generation Tangier. Some of her relatives once lived in the town of Canaan on the north part of the island. Today, only traces of that community remain.
Okay, hold on.
I see bricks.
Okay.
I was waiting. Okay. Hold on, I'll back it up. I'll back it up one more time. One more time.
Pruitt Moore is 7th generation Tangier.
Same time.
Yes, that's correct.
This is climate change.
This is sea level rise happening right here,
right
now.
Carol Pruitt Moore is 7th generation Tangier. Some of her relatives once lived in the town of Canaan on the north part of the island.
Okay, rewind it again, Rishi. One more time. One more time.
Carol Pruitt Moore is 7th generation Tangier. Some of her relatives once lived in the town of Canaan on the north.
It's too much. The last name is Moore. Is she saying Moore for the last Kellen Moore or something?
Yeah, Carol Moore.
Carol Moore?
Yeah, Carol.
Carol Moore. Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Carol Moore, 7th generation, seventh generation on Tangier, Canaan. They said all of that. You can't, it's all, but the second time I heard it, I was like, Tangier, and then I was like, I'm not watching the video, and then I heard Tangier, Canaan, and then I'm like, okay, I know what video he's talking about, but the way they said it, they still have not mentioned United States. They haven't mentioned, America, Virginia, nothing. It just seems like they're talking about Tangier, Canaan. Like, you would think they have to be talking about over there, just by the way they're talking right now in the beginning. They have not mentioned nothing else but Tangier and Canaan.
Can't be here.
Carol Moore, 7th generation. That's crazy. That's crazy. It's bugging me out. Canaan. That's what they call Virginia.
Yeah.
Huh. No name. This guy's getup looks Moorish.
Everybody knows. That's and then the name of the video is When the Game Drops Hints That the Moors Were Black.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. No name. This guy's getup looks Moorish.
And the more and more you want than that, Negroes. That's clearly a brother. And if his getup is Moorish, then he's probably Moorish. I'll just go with him being Moorish. I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard. Oh yeah, so Moore said, had to send you this screenshot I just took. At 7:30 p.m., YouTube still has a live notification. I'm able to watch every other channel and their videos. But when I try this one from earlier, it makes my phone freeze. Right? And then 7:56 p.m., they got Canaanland boys going live on fucking 7:56. We were live still, doing class. That's YouTube for you. That's YouTube for you. And this one just came out. All the more so look into this one. State Department to launch new human rights panel stressing natural law. State Department to launch new human rights panel stressing natural law. Of course, the Pan-L, for the natural law. Now in a conference, now in a committee or whatever, they're having a Pan-L to stress natural law on these people. But people blind, so whatever. It is what it did. What it did. It did what it did. All these Negroes are buckwheat to these people. They don't care.
You can't get the natural without the national, though.
You gotta have the national. The word natural in such context is often interpreted to mean God-given, a phrasing that is less common in modern human rights literature, but which would signal a religious component. Remember, everybody has a right. Remember, everybody has a right to religion. And if you start talking natural law, you're talking God stuff, which messes up their whole game that they've been playing with their statutes, ordinances, acts, and codes. Because to have natural law, there has to be natural people. Having human rights, there has to be human.
Oh, it messes up the whole game, right?
If you're dealing with human rights, there better be people with hue that you're dealing with. If you don't have hue, don't talk human rights. If you're not American, don't talk indigenous rights. If you're not Aborigine, human rights apply to humans only. Don't be beg for stuff that's not yours because you want to be stateless. It doesn't work like that in the real world.
No, you can't march picket.
No work like that in the real world, homie. There's something else.
I remember Grand Sheet Nature said in a video years ago, it would be like a gorilla in court screaming he got human rights. Maybe that's exactly what's going on too, man. You got rights, but you gorilla. Okay.
Islam GS, there was something on mine last weekend, an image of Jamaica military band uniform headdress, and found out that the particular headdress uniform is related to the Zouaves. And only 2 countries carry on the traditional dress, Jamaica and Barbados. For me, it's full circle in this Moorish science, for the Zouaves are Berbers. The more you seek, the more you find. There's the band right there, dressed up like the Zouaves. Jamaica Defense Force Band. And the Zouaves are Berbers, are Moorish. That's just what it is. Don't get mad that it's all about Moorish. You don't have to get mad. You don't have to get mad. Just accept the reality. Just accept the reality. We're Moors. Proclaim, declare your nationality, and let's go. Stop playing around. Proclaim, declare. Let's do this. What's so hard? Why is it so hard? Differentiating from old business. When engaging in new business or filling out a job application with a new employer associated with a union, my nom de guerre is on file for my information with the union and with an associated apprentice council. Paperwork forwarded with me upon the employer showed my nom de guerre, so they persist on writing in the nom de guerre 2 attempts. Now this goes back to the idea. This goes back to the idea of what the prophet was saying to the Moors. He had told us that Noble Ali had told us to all old business, let it stay where it is. And all your new business, do it in your free national name. All old business, all new business, free national name. So with old business, that's what it is. It's gonna be the straw. Don't try to force them to change anything and all that stuff, because eventually they're gonna say, F you. If this is your livelihood, if you could afford to not get that check that you got and whatever, then hey, pull all the stuff you want to pull. Try everything. See what happens. Test the waters. That's your stuff. You want to test waters? Go right ahead. Don't get mad at Moors and don't get mad at anybody else when stuff doesn't go how you want it to go. Because you said that it wasn't anything meaningful, so you can put that up. You can throw that in the hat with the wager. Right? That's old business. New business mindset is you're not working for them. New business mindset is that you're working for self. But if you're working for self, that thing that you're doing better be generating some finance, better be assisting you in being a more divine being, better be doing something relative to the liberation of yourself or your people, and be lucrative, right? New business. New business is, there are Moors that got trucking companies. There are Moors that have stores. There are Moors that have online businesses. Not the package selling people we're talking about. Right? When you start talking about you're going to go to the employer and you better be in good with your employer. Because these people aren't playing those ones. You better know if you're going to do new business. Like if you're going to say, okay, new business, free national name, you better know. You better not be guessing. As soon as you're talking new business and I'm a Moor and all that stuff, before you do anything, you better know. Don't do without knowing. And not because you know means that you should do. Islam more.
Islam Green Sheik.
You have any interjection?
Nope, he was killing them just now.
Islam.
Killing them. I yield the floor.
Islam more. Right. So, when engaging in new business of filling out a job application, so you're saying, I'm a Moor and I'm going to go work for somebody. You should be doing that from the perspective of having a trade and they're acquiring your services. It shouldn't be you're filling out an application if you're a Moor. This is why the man said old business, leave it as it is. He didn't say you're not a Moor if you're engaged in an old business. He said new business, do it in your free national name. Old business, leave it as it is. But he didn't say don't deal with that. He didn't say just, oh, it's old business, well, I'll just throw that to the side and then, you know, go over here and start being a Moor now. Yeah. At some point, responsibility is going to have to be taken for the fact that you're a dumbass as a Negro and you messed up this nom de guerre. You, the body, got this thing in whatever mess that it's in. And, you know, because it was of ignorance, but hey, ignorance of the law is no excuse. So like we tell Moors all the time, you know, try to handle your shit before you start talking about your Moors and all that. Try to get a grasp on what you're dealing with. Try to get a grasp on what you're dealing with. You know, because it's, you know, not even from the perspective of, you know, it being dangerous and whatever like that, because people could and whatever. No, because to be active, knowing about your nationality and birthrights means to start moving in the process of being strong, independent, and fearless. Like we said, Noble Jawali said we have mental slavery now, and he was talking about back then. So if we're reading that today, he's talking about still now, we got it. We still have it now, so we need him more than ever. But it starts with not having an agenda while you're coming into this. Because the old business is all mess, and now you want the new business so you can go get a new credit card and then free national name and all that stuff. You're talking crazy. Then you're gonna do the same BS that you did to the straw to your free national name, and now you're gonna be double effed up now because now they're going after your free national name for that, and they could tell you you gotta pay in gold and silver or whatever. We're not taking fiat from you, Mr. Bay. You got that, but we want gold and silver from you because since you're a Moor, right, and you're Bay, you don't want fiat. Just because you decide to put free national name on some corporate document. Now you're gonna reserve your rights and hey, you got this locked. Free national name on everything. If they go through with reservation of rights. And they let you do that. They let you do that. They actually let you. Nah, they didn't do that. Trust. Now once you know, stuff changes. But you have to know in order for things to change. It's not changing if you don't know. These people don't know. They parrot. These people don't study. They're just Negroes who know that they can use the online whatever to manipulate their people and rob them or whatever. And they know that. They're sure about that. They're sure. Because the people are asleep. And they don't want to know about their nationality and birthrights. Unfortunately, they don't want to know. Even though it's free, because all you have to do is study. Once you study, you'll figure it out. Is that more?
Is that Grand Chief?
Yeah, yo. I heard you just jump on. You had something?
No, I was still listening to you go in.
Oh, it's not more.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, something you had said earlier, I forgot though, man. I should have wrote it down. Usually you write it down. Something you said earlier. It goes, dang, it'll come back to me.
All right.
It'll come back to me.
I have notified all these things to you long ago in the past. It is through the faithful Moors that attribute to the movement and uplifting funds. The ones that paid their divine respect to me and the movement will be remembered. That is why I'm calling on all faithful Moors to increase their faithfulness to me, your prophet, and your divine Moorish movement. I need finance, and I need it badly. Never before have I needed finance so badly as I do at present, so I can shove aside the discord that is facing the nation. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility. It all comes through jealousy because of my fame and nobility.
Yeah, that's why it came back to me.
Yeah.
When you was going in on the brother correcting his appellation. Just to add on to that, because you was going in on, the whole thing about the main objective is to have your own. Now, at the same time, you gotta remember, because that's what a lot of Moors are doing, but that's one of the hardest things in the world. One of the hardest things to do is to be yourself.
Yeah, for real.
The prophet said, I'm here to teach you how to be yourself. He didn't say it was going to be easy. He did not say it was going to be easy. That's going to be one of the hardest things in the world to do, is to be yourself. To be out here, remember, because the prophet came in 1913. Now, we're coming back, I'm a Moor, nope. The prophet came in 1913. And 75% of the time, the reason why your stuff is not working is because it's an unconscious Moor who's doing your paperwork. They didn't even get to the European for him to deny you. The unconscious Moor did it. He don't know what that crap is. He looking at it like, what's this? What's this? He throwing it right out. Oh, that's that Moorish crap stuff. Throwing it right out. And be your own. So something, you put another video of Brother Laurie Lonray going in on that about how when he goes to the store, it's his own giving him a hard problem about taking his taxes off. And when you going to correct your status, like me, when I was trying to do that at the last show I was doing, the lady who was working, the head of the human resources, was a Moabite, giving me the runaround, the whole runaround, so I can correct my status. I mean, I'm not there no more because I realized, okay, if I want to do this, I'm gonna have to do it by myself. Like, it's gonna be me. Like, I have to do it. I'm gonna have to be able to contract with people, and it's one of the hardest things in the world. And studying, I realized, it was I forgot the name of the book. I think it's the Book of Secrets, where it says to be happy is to be content, or to be content is to be happy, or might be vice versa. But and I had to learn that very well too, like, because once you're more, you already know it's not about the materialistic things. You know what I mean? Like, that's why I tell the man, I walk. I have a convenience, but I walk. Everything's around the corner. I'd rather walk. These highwaymen are not playing. They are not playing out here. They're pulling over any and everything. Any and everything they detain it. They're not playing. Pocket came in 1913. We have some work to do.
Mad work. Mad work.
And while we're working, they working.
Yeah. And they got
people working for them. The monsters is not waking up.
Yeah.
The divine wake up, and so doesn't the below wake up. As above, so below. What you mean? So we got a lot of work to do. We just waking up to it now, coming into it. So that's what I'm saying. Like, you get into this information, like we said before. You come into this information, 30 years, you was nigga color black for 30 years, well, holler at me when you're 60, and then maybe
then we can build.
You got 30, you gotta get out of that.
Yeah, then we can build.
You gotta get out of that. I read a lot of comments from people of ourselves and of our people. Everything is a benefit. Everything is, how does this benefit me? Yeah. How am I gonna get benefits? Like what? To be happy, to be content is to be happy. What are you always looking for something for?
Always looking for something.
You're always looking for something.
That's that European psychology right there. That's that European psychology.
Exactly.
Honors to the Europeans who are assisting the Moors and doing what they can to, spread the word or whatever it is that you Europeans are doing out there. We give thanks for your diligence in trying to get this word out to these people who think that they're black when you're the black guy, and they don't want to hear that you're the black guy, black country and all that. Right. What's up, more? You got anything else to add on?
Don't let them trick you out of your birthright. You start sitting there, you're studying, just to add on too, because you get frustrated, so you get frustrated with all this thing, they're not accepting this, they're not, and then you start thinking in your head, well, maybe this ain't what it is. No. Just know, we are under inquisitional practices right now. This is Inquisition. We are in it. We are in it. This ain't 711 AD and back, further back than that, when everything was cool. You know what I mean? Like, no. We in it. We are in the 1492 and thus after. Right. We're in it. We're the end result of Morocco got taken over. Now, when you go outside, look, we are in it. We in the history. So don't get frustrated. Just know where you at. You know what I mean? Just know where you're at, what's going on. Right. Realize what's going on. It's not what it seems. It's not what it seems. We under colonization. You see your people walking around looking crazy. That's a prisoner of war.
Yeah.
They show you that in the movies. The scavengers just walking around lost, don't know what's going on. And they own land. Walking around, they let them walk around free because they're ignorant.
Mm-hmm.
And then all that play.
Islam more. Peace and love to all the Moors. Don't forget, tonight, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. MHHS, Eyes Wide Open. 319-527-6751. 319-527-6751. 425-569-5201. 425-569-5201. Make sure you check out RV Bay Publications, get your study on. Don't be shy of getting information, because that's what Moors do. I want to say honors to all the faithful Moors. All the Moors who knew that there were Moors before Noble Drew Ali even came. In a past life, you were a Moor. Been known that you're not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian, or anything else. So honors to you, once again. Supreme honors to the mothers for giving us life and for beating our ass sometimes when we got out of line. And honors to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, one of the greatest men to ever live, bringing teachings that were really for the salvation of our people. And once those things were applied, they actually manifested some things, some positive change in the beholder. Peace and love to all Moors. Islam, Brother Yusuf.
Islam. Islam, Green Sheep. Just to add on, too, they don't talk about our prophet, you know? They never talked about our prophet. Never talked about Noble Drew Ali. We never even heard of this man. Never heard of him. They go through all them. My sister will tell you. When I was younger, I did all the Martin Luther King history stuff in the world. I used to do all of that. I never heard of this man called Noble Drew Ali. Ever. 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 And then to come to find out that this man came back and brought us our nationality and birthright in 1913. And the people today, because we find out who this man is and what he did for us, they try to defame his character. Defame what he brought back is like the hugest, craziest upset in the world. It's like crazy, like, because this man changed the world. He knew what he did. He knows what he did. He knows what he did. That's because what he did, he did it, and he did it without any arrogance.
Just like they said, they're still talking about him today.
Yep.
Man, not even here. You're trying to defame him still? Like, what the hell did he do?
Right.
How you still going at a man 100 years later? Find me somebody else that they're going at 100 years later. They're going and debating after he's dead or whatever. His critics are talking BS about him. Find me somebody. Nobody. Yo, this man's been gone. They still talking about they're exposing him? He must have did something fucking crazy.
Yep. Yep.
You know how gigantic it must be what he did for them to be talking about him still, that he's not real in 2019? Must better wake the hell up. Know what you got. Islam, Morris.
Wow.
Of course, nobody's going to talk about that. Many of them still in this movement. You understand what I'm saying? To kill the civic side of this movement, so people can think it's just another black religious Islamic sect. You get? That was their mission, to establish that fake reality, not reality, but that fake appearance of reality, that semblance, that color to the people, which is the color that most people have of the Moorish movement now. And anyone says that's not true is a liar, because that's the concept that people have of this movement. Until we came out and started reaching out to them while everybody else was being silent, condemning us for doing it too. And we put literature out there to change their concepts so they can have something to reference to. You understand? Just like the prophet said do. Exactly what the prophet said do. People mad at us, still mad at us for it. I don't care. Because I'm not in it for them. I got babies. And they got babies. And they got babies, and the babies that's still in the womb. And I ain't having it. And I'm a soldier. I came as a defender when it was going. That's why I do what I do. I'm telling you bluntly. And I ain't afraid.
Mufti force of the conscious game. Superstars won't spend all those G's just a supercar. I'd rather put the funds to Mufti force guns. Dr. Sebi remedy in trucks, skids and tons. Sign and bonus, give to Gabriel or Evo. Or UMIA, let more replace Negro. I'm not the face watcher or friend beggar. I'm not the type to take back what I tell ya. Tight pants and dry flows, I want a Rockefeller. Black Hawk down, a fly rapper and snap propellers. Airspace in these bars are no flow zones. I heard R&B singers are homo drones. I heard that from a gay rapper dressing so thug. G's can't pass butt cheeks, dressing so snug like a snuggle bear, showing me your underwear. Rapper Inquisition make rappers run from fear of being shown up. You already thrown up, punchlines and hooks leave their face swole up. Or like the triad, if you don't pay what's owed up. Rapper Inquisition, horror flick, the lips sewn up. Can't go one-on-one for IHF zone up. Using the fiat and deals, pumping their clones up. Making more rap clones like iRobot. Short circuit the whole industry of rap robots. That butts boinking, working with the ones oinking. Hip-hop's hurting IHF, the vocal ointment. Flow like a break waves and b-boy girl dancers. Spit like pain of old school graphers. Fiend for the true hip-hop scratching like a producer. MC OGs with content that you used to. Fiending for true hip-hop scratching like a producer. MC OGs with content that you used to.
They want make me life hard like pavement. Me no fear to make my statement. Babylon go on with the mental and physical enslavement. Think right now if we all live like cavemen. How much go dead off, how much now go make it. The righteous replace them, the most I erase them. Discrimination, plaguing with nation. Unity is strength, we weak with separation. Jailhouse is meant to deplete elevation. Wisdom visit on the deep meditation. Or you have to see on the sleep medication. Herbs are the healing of the nation. Tell them police, they that stop chase. Man, especially since me no phone, no place. That's flirt of the truth. Me know say you can't take that. See them chat, yeah, this rasta. Nah, take back, you don't know.
Couldn't grasp half of the shit that we've been through. These clip ass niggas making comments on YouTube. TorontoRappers.com talking about YouTube. Generation switch, shouldn't have to show you. Big man, grow bitch, don't worry about the old school. Haven't seen a man you used to see before. A certain man don't want the face see no more. Get off our dicks, your pussies is whores. Tendencies of a bitch, you should learn to be a more. And while you're hating, we'll keep repping T.O. and celebrating, cause enough soldiers soon home. We penetrating, got the locks and the codes. So do your own time, bro. We alright. Everybody on their own ground, but we still tight. It's just a miscommunication, which brothers don't fight. You need an occupation, or I forgot you tight. Shit about other man, cause you covered their life. But your business you should mind though, cause we work nights. And you ain't hard to find once darkness comes to light. And I don't care, you can take my flesh life here. I manifest, and I come back in your nightmares. And I kill you there, I've been traveling for light years. I can't die, but they won't see you horny or you won't wake up. Need to call the coroner, another wake up. Your boys will be corona, cause they slumped. Reminiscing while they're mourning, saying what the. Just yesterday we was blogging with each other. Shouldn't have. With just another brother and the rest of the camp. 2 decades straight, we've been making our stamp. Yeah, I know you say you don't even know me. I make it clear I'm a Flemo Don OG. Year to year made stacks off the Mosies from the block to the bars. I'm known we between the rats and the stars. I play low-key looking down and it's far at the top, it's getting lonely.
Of course, the agents that exist, whether or not it's informed by my lips, labeled angelic or devilish, based in the view to behold against the older we get. Our perspectives and action change regardless, lines drawn between those that intend to hinder gain. Similar, not the same, which others see, they're left to complain. The reference frame change while still thinking life is a game. While we train, this battlefield, knowing when common kicks is real. My mental plus my tempo must be ready to switch from hurt to heal. It's true to reveal similarities since they be following orders accordingly from trust to destiny. So mercy's unnecessary. Murder honorably was enemy, and as long as common mode exists, an opposition has to be.
Contest me now, contest me now. Yeah, contest. I'll flatten your career, make a whack rap. Too many whack rappers out there. This one's for y'all. Simon, I'll flatten your career, make a whack rapper disappear. Grab you by your shirt back and kick your ass out of here. Bystanders run for cover, cause I'm back to reap havoc. Remember me? That could kill them all and make them die tragic. Turn the opposition, cock it back and let them have it. Let them vanish like I'm a magician and raps for magic. And like poof, you're gone. With the proof I'm on. To all you non-substance rappers, if you want, respond. Give y'all a second, but I recognize you're repping some metrosexual shit. That's not the way that I'm stepping. I studied last year's test and skimmed the cheat sheets. So test me out, kill commercial rap like dead meat. If you don't know, I'm Simon Phoenix and I dead beats. Hung commercial rap on front page. I can't be discreet. Lyrically dump heat, leaving bodies in tall heaps. No mortal can walk like I do. Now bow and kiss my feet. Call me sire. Throw out your skinny jeans and retire. Back you up against the wall with hail or gunfire. Sharp talent shred your skins and shatter your bones. Stay out of the kitchen. Better yet, drop the microphone. Steadily prepping better recipes. I rap till the end, but rap won't be the death of me. At a shower party when I catch ya, I wet ya, then blow you up the crime scene. All that's left is your stretcher. So test me now. Make your fans convert. Have them wearing fatigues and burning tight pink ass shirts. Have them dashing out the flashy clothes like I'm not Tron. Milling your pipe bombs, labeled the wannabe rap icon. Check me later, I'm gone. Thought I died, but I respond. My words are bondable, but when I speak, don't respond. I drown shallow-minded MCs in a shallow pond. Mobilize a million men to march like I'm Farrakhan. But I'm more like Malcolm and my brother is some Falcon. Chasing crazy ball heads out of our town after I scalp them. Get up more than you can chew, motherfuckers. Come test me now. So test me now. So test me now.
It's still IHF, still ill, hunting feds. The type to leave a body guy leaking from his head. Dirty like the naps in my head. The enemies still want me dead, but mentally I cause their bodies to combust spontaneously. I be that ghetto dentist, removing chest cavities with my psychopathic surgery. My incision won't be circular, more like linear. My network stop rising, can you still hear me clear? No more text messages, only mental mind blast to my comrades. Traders never overstand the task. Rather floss in some tight pants, some money in their hand. Big chains and rims spinning. My stone hands will leave your face smashed and ears ringing. Armageddon soon beginning, so there's no time for sinning. When I finally kill the devil, I'ma hear this angel singing. Such a beautiful song.